Hey, it's Kyle here, and it's been a little bit since my last book review, and I decided I wanted to get one more in before the end of 2014. So I'm going to review Conquistador by S.M. Stirling. It's an interesting kind of background to how I came about reading this book. I attended Dragon Con this year in Atlanta, which is kind of the big nerd con in Atlanta. It's one of the biggest ones in America, actually. But one of the panels I was most excited to attend was one that featured Harry Turtledove, which is one of my favorite authors of all time. I reviewed several of his books here on the channel in the past. If you've ever seen my books in the background, you know I'm a huge Harry Turtledove fan because I have two shelves of basically just Harry Turtledove books. I by far have read more books by Turtledove than I have of any other author. So when I got the program for what was going to be at Dragon Con after I bought my membership, I was so excited to see that Harry Turtledove was doing some panels. So I got to attend one, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. If you'd like to see that video, I posted that on my personal channel. You can check out a link right here. But he did that panel with S.M. Stirling, and Harry Turtledove and S.M. Stirling are really kind of viewed as probably the two top writers in alternate history. And I'd always heard about S.M. Stirling, and obviously when I bought a lot of books by Turtledove, a lot of times they're grouped in the same section. So I'd see S.M. Stirling's books, the titles looked interesting, but for some reason I just never picked up one. But at the panel, I really enjoyed his feedback, the stories that he talked about writing. He just sounded like a really interesting author, and the stories he went over in his writing process. And he was just a funny guy in general, and interesting. I thought, I really want to read one of his books, so I kind of put it on my little note to myself, next time I go to a bookstore, check out a book by S.M. Stirling. So I did a little research, and I've seen he's wrote a lot of series, but when I went to the bookstore, I came across this book, Conquistador, and I could tell it was a standalone book. I thought, well, this would be a great way for me to introduce myself to this author. Just in case I don't like his writing style, I'm not stuck with having read the first book in a series, and now I want to figure out how the series ends, but I don't really want to invest that much. So I thought, let's do a standalone book and let's just see how I liked it. And I really, really enjoyed it. It's a great book. I really enjoy his writing style. I'm definitely going to check out more of his books in the future. At the moment now, I'm trying to decide which of his series I'd like to check out first. But Conquistador definitely convinced me that I'm a fan of S.M. Stirling. And if you like alternate history or just good fiction storytelling, I would encourage you to check out S.M. Stirling as an author. The basic story behind Conquistador is very interesting and unique. Basically, the main character is a veteran from World War II. He's just got back from the war. He's settling in San Francisco. He's trying to figure out how to restart his life after the war. He's kind of messing around with a ham radio in his basement. It's kind of a hobby he picked up during the war. And for some random reason, when he crossed a couple of circuits to try to boost the power of the radio, suddenly this kind of, his wall kind of turns into a portal, and you can kind of see, grass, trees, animals, and he figure out what's going on, and then, he's curious, he kind of looks in, it looks interesting, so he kind of gets his nerves up, he sticks something through the portal, and he pulls it back and it's fine, so then he sticks his hand through and stuff, and eventually he walks through, and through some, investigations, he basically figures out that somehow he's accidentally created a portal to the San Francisco area, but in a different reality. And basically in this reality, it's clear very early on that Europeans have never discovered or settled the Americas, and it's really still a Native American culture that's dominating the area. And very quickly he comes across the idea, and he invites a lot of people he served in the war with to come with him and kind of explore this new world they've discovered and take advantage of the opportunities that it provides. The portal stays open the entire time. It doesn't close. And just think about it. If you had what they quickly do is what a lot of people would probably do if you were trying to figure out how can I take advantage of this situation. And basically figured out hey, I'm in California in a world that the Europeans never did the gold rush. There's all this gold around here. So he quickly sets up our operation where he's doing stuff like that. So that's the very early of the book. Basically, the majority of the book takes place 50 years after that case, where this alternate reality colony has been set up for a while. It's functioning on both sides, our world and then the alternate reality. The colonists are trying to keep it a secret because obviously they don't want other people to know. There's police investigating stuff. It's kind of a mystery element to it. And the crime they're investigating slowly leading him to possibly discovering the secret. Some of the colonists are trying to protect the secret. Some of the colonists are good guys, some are bad guys. It's very interesting because it's one of those books when you're reading, for a while it takes you a while to figure out, all right, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, who am I supposed to be rooting for? And really, one of the great things about the characters in this book is every character has a positive side and a negative side. And throughout the book, it's clear they're pointing out, like, there's not one right answer here. Not everything's black and white. There's a lot of gray in here for you to decide, well, is this the really right thing they should be doing? Or, I mean, this is really good, but is it good they're doing it that way? It's very interesting because it makes you kind of think, well, if I was in this situation, what would I do? But the storyline is very fascinating. Like I said, there's a very much mystery element to it, especially the first half has a big criminal mystery element to it. The second part of the book kind of devolves more into like a political mystery element to it, at the same time exploring the elements of alternate history. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a great standalone book. I wish more authors would do standalone books because it gets a little old reading nothing but series. A good standalone book is really, really good. And I really enjoyed Conquistador, so if you're looking for a great book, I'd strongly encourage you to check out Conquistador by S.M. Stirling. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you've read any of the S.M. Stirling books and you'd like to recommend some that I should check out, let me know in the comment section below. If you've just read any great books lately that you think I should check out, my reading style, hey, Kyle will probably like that, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm always looking for new books to read. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you the next time.